Welcome to Chasing the Beats, a show dedicated to weeklybeats.com artists, their songs and stories from the 2024 season, and maybe some before. I'm your host, SQF, and our guest today is Blighters Rock. All right, welcome to Blighters Rock. Thanks for being on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and another hat tip to Viridian Loom, because I think he recommended you as well, and you guys know each other IRL.
Yeah, absolutely. He's I first heard your podcast by listening to his. I saw it get posted with his name on it, and really enjoyed it. And then somebody threw my name out there, and I said, "Oh, well, this could be fun. This is great.
I got to do it now. Yeah,
I got to do it now."
Cool.
Yeah, Viridian's really cool. His music's really awesome, and he's really talented.
Oh yeah. It was great to chat with him and dive into his music, and I enjoyed listening to your stuff last year. And you actually did Weekly Beats 2022, and we've got some songs from 2022 that I hadn't heard that are also bangers. So
thank you.
Tell me a little bit about how you got into the whole Weekly Beats world.
Yeah, through Viridian, actually.
Nice.
Viridian Loom. Yeah, so we played in a band together, as he mentioned on the episode a couple weeks ago. And while we were playing together, he started doing Weekly Beats, and he was telling us about it and would share songs with us, and we'd be like, "Hey, that's really cool." Me and the other guy that was in the band, well, we'll get into him later, maybe. Anyways, yeah, so he would be talking about it, and he would be sharing songs, and he was doing cool stuff on there. And I just didn't really give it a whole lot of thought until a couple of years later when it was coming up again. And he was like, "Hey, you should give this a try." Okay, I guess maybe. And so I started doing it, not having a clue what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I felt like I had been out of writing for a long time. I felt like when I was a teenager, when I was in my early 20s, I was just writing all the time. And I got to a point where I would occasionally do something, but it just felt like music wasn't really coming out of me anymore. And so can I do this anymore? Can I still do this?
I get that.
and so that's where the name Blighters Rock came from. Is I was sitting in front of trying to figure out, what am I going to call myself on Weekly Beats? And I was like, I have writer's block.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even think about that.
And, in my brain, I'm always switching things around. And then we turned writer's block into Blighters Rock. And
I love it.
Here I am.
That's great. And your first year, 2022, do you feel like that really just got you back into making music again?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I found happened over and over again is I would write something and I would be like, wow, that's really cool. If I get nothing else out of Weekly Beats for the rest of the year, at least I wrote that. At least I got that. And then, I might have a couple weeks of down weeks where I didn't really enjoy the output. But then a couple weeks later, it'd be like, oh, wow, that was really good. If I get nothing else, I've got these 2 songs that I'm pretty proud of. And then, throughout the year, it just accumulates. And by the end, it's, wow, I've got all these songs.
Yeah. And you've been in bands before. So what was your music making and writing prior to Weekly Beats?
Sure. So in high school, I did the garage band thing. I was the front man of, it was me and one of my high school buddies with a rotating cast of characters. We both played guitar and sang. And I started writing almost immediately. I was never really into playing a whole bunch of covers. Everybody starts out learning a few, but I think I was 15 or 16. I had been playing guitar for, I don't know, a year or two. And it's like, okay, it's time to write songs. And they had 3 chords in them, and there wasn't anything particularly special about them, but I just started writing, and we had, I don't know, half a dozen songs, maybe a little bit more than that in the high school band. And then, that ended, as all things do.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept writing for a bit. It was really not until I was maybe in my mid-20s when things just kind of slowed down. I just didn't really write anymore. And, it wasn't till Weekly Beats where I was like, okay, can I even do
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely went through a period myself where, you just get busy with other life stuff and you maybe move away from your friends that you used to write music with and kind of enter this new era where you're not really making any music. And like you just said, like, can I still make music? Can this stuff still come out of me again? And I
Yeah.
kind of feel like I'm in that spot in the Weekly Beats off year where like I just this week I was like I was like I'm gonna not work on my old like these songs that I've had in the works all summer. I'm gonna just like start something new. And I was like, whoa, this is actually really fun and like I can make music again. So did you anticipate kind of getting back into the whole music making thing starting Weekly Beats, or were you just like, I'm just gonna give it a go?
I think it was really just I'm going to give it a go. And as soon as I committed to it, I'm the kind of person that it's like, okay, I'm a bit of a completionist. So if I start it, I'm going to finish it. But I didn't know how deep I was going to get sucked into kind of the complexity of what I was going to be writing. My first contribution to Weekly Beats was, okay, I'll, do some stupid little bass line and I'll put some drums on it and put some guitars on it. But it wasn't, to me, it wasn't really a song. It was just like, I was noodling around.
Yeah.
But then the second week, it's like, oh, well, let's write something and let's add some vocals to it. And by the third week, I'm like putting synthesizers on top of it. And I've, got a chorus in there. And it's just like, and I was just hooked because every week I was topping myself, I think. For at least for a little bit, you hit the doldrums, but for a while it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
up and up and up, and it kind of kept doing that.
What other challenges did you give yourself throughout the year, or was it just like to keep it going?
Oh, for the first year, it was just get through it,
Grinding.
grinding through it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You get to 2/3 of the way through the year, and you just want it to be over, or at least that's my feeling on it.
I definitely understand that.
Yeah. And for the second year, I went in, I recognized a lot of the deficiencies in my first year of output. I really love really good production, and it's really difficult to do really good production in a like write a song and produce it really well in a really
Yeah.
short window of time. And so I had a few there in 2024 where I was proud of the production. There's a lot of weeks again where it's like, okay, maybe that one didn't live up to it. Maybe I didn't have time. But I think my peak level of where I got to in 2024 definitely was higher.
Like just you felt like you're producing better
Hmm.
songs in like a week time span?
Yeah. Well, again, the peaks are higher, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. And is that the main difference between the first year and the second year?
Hmm. Yeah, I think audio production wise, I think there's also some lessons in songwriting learned along the way. Some, I don't know if I would call them techniques, but like along the way, it's like, oh, I found a cool new way to use a chord that now I'm going to use that in a few songs and try this new thing.
Yeah, because like I'm thinking about 2026 and trying to kind of glean other people's experiences of like from the first year to the second year, and there's definitely a a little bit of excitement mixed with fear, but like a different kind of fear from the first year of like I don't even know what I'm getting into, because like I kind of know what I'm getting into, but I also want to try to do some different things, and I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to go about that quite yet.
So, are there? I know this is a show where you're interviewing me, perhaps, but
No,
where
it's we can have a
like,
conversation.
what are your like? did you have goals setting out last time, and do you think that there will be different goals the next time around?
Well, I've mentioned on a few of the other shows that I definitely want to try my hand at singing, which I definitely want to talk to you about singing because you're a great singer.
Thank you.
And I do kind of want to push the boundaries of just experimenting, like breaking out of the box that I've like, even when I go back and listen to stuff from last year and some of the stuff that I made this summer, I'm like, it sounds like me. It sounds like a lot of the other songs that I've made. Like, I like them, but how can I explore more?
Right.
Like, because I think the value is finding the unexpected.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing that I got from Weekly Beats is like the repetition, the outcome is not, you can't predict it all the time or maybe any of the time.
Right.
And so the fun part is going down these different paths that you're like, at the end of the week, you're like, I fucking love this song, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think as far as kind of finding that creativity or finding something new, I often find that the best way for me, at least, is to try to put myself in a box, try to give myself some restriction of I'm only going to use two chords for this, or I'm only going to use this instrument, or I'm only going to, I'm going to do something with this particular style. And usually putting yourself in that box, creativity follows because you have to
Mm,
come up with a way to kind of solve that problem. Like, oh, how am I going to make it mine, but be within these parameters?
yeah. Did you like what are some of the techniques that you used in like maybe the second year to kind of find that creativity with that box?
Hmm. I would say the second year I had a harder time doing that.
I mean, that's interesting as well.
Yeah. Let me just back up and say that my usual process is to pick up a guitar and just start humming and start singing and try to come up with
Yeah.
something. And usually, like, once there's some kind of seed of an idea, then I can kind of take it and say, oh, I'm going to do it like this,
Got it.
as opposed to like, I can't start out and say I'm gonna make a song that sounds like the '80s, and then just have a completely blank canvas. Like there has to
Mhm.
be, something there. I wanted to make a song about the '80s or an '80s sounding song, but that
Yeah.
one didn't quite happen.
I mean, I don't find that I make music like that either. Like other people that have been on the show have talked about, oh, I've got this vision of what the song is going to be, and then I just like build towards it. I'm
Hmm.
more like you, where it's like I got to noodle around until something like catches my ear, and then I'm like, okay, let's continue to build on this.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then singing and lyrics, I am in the I'm afraid to sing, so now my next excuse is, oh, lyrics are hard to write. So, what is your lyric writing process?
I like to. Well, usually it's standing in the shower first thing in the morning and just humming to myself, and some snappy words come to my mind. Something, an idea, a thought, a turn of phrase that sounds good. And then I'll just keep rolling that over in my mind until, something rhymes with it or some other kind of idea connects to it.
Hmm.
And then once I don't start out with an idea for a song like I'm going to write a song about how much I love you, and then start putting
Yeah.
words to that. I start out with like what are you know some words that sound good that can form the foundation, and then a song kind of forms around it. And as lyrics come in, it's like, oh well, this song is about this, and then the rest of it
Interesting.
just kind of gets filled in, trying to continue telling that story that I've kind of found.
You kind of start out with some lyrics, and then theme starts to form as you are like. it's almost easier to find more words the deeper you get into it because now there's like a, a visible structure.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes it's a few words like that. Sometimes it's a lot of people, a lot of songwriters will say that, start with the title. Like if you've got a great title, then the song will write itself. I'm not necessarily a title kind of guy. I feel like I need to have like a couple lines, but once it's there, then yeah, the rest of it will usually present itself, or, just banging on it over and over again, stuff starts to come out that works with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't pick a title to save my life. That's why I just do like the random make me a title on the M8, and then I'm like, yeah, I guess that song is that.
There you go.
And
You know,
then go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, when the first year I did weekly beats, for a while I consciously tried to avoid titling things, like anything that was written in the song, like in the lyrics of the song. I don't know why I did that. And at some point I was like, I gave up on it. But for a while they were like, I was using like really weird puns of like misinterpreted lyrics from the song to try to come up with a title. It was pretty bad.
And then singing. How long have you been singing?
I have been trying to sing since I was in high school.
I
Whew.
mean,
I
it sounds
appreciate
like
the
you've
compliments.
succeeded.
I appreciate the compliments, and I'll take them where I can get them.
Someone that doesn't sing, or only in the shower or to cats or dogs, your singing is great.
Well, thank you. I I was deeply uncomfortable with my singing, especially in 2022.
No way.
Towards the end of the year, I took some vocal lessons and did that for most of 2023 as well. Uh,
Okay.
and so in 2024, I feel like my performances were stronger generally than they were the previous year. But again, I'm still fairly uncomfortable with my voice, and I guess a lot of people are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I
I
mean, even editing a podcast, I'm like, oh boy, people listen to this. Uh,
so I think the thing that I've tried to focus on more is to make the performance believable more than being
right.
perfectly on pitch or perfectly in time or perfectly anything else. You need to deliver a performance that somebody believes on the other end, that when they hear it, they're like, oh, yeah, he's going through the thing he's singing about, or he's passionate about the thing he's singing about. And so my best songs or my best performances are ones where I let it go, and I become somewhat believable, I think.
Yeah. And there's a bit of confidence that shines through where, you listen to any song on the radio and you look at the lyrics and you're like, I would have never picked those lyrics, but the way it's delivered, it like really sells it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just super interesting. And what other techniques did you learn from your voice coaches?
So one of the things that he used to really try to get me to do is to he would say try to make it sound ugly. Basically, like you're pushing your voice up into your head, and you're singing kind of through your nose in a way that to you doesn't necessarily sound the best, but then it makes it sound more impassioned, I think. And I have a naturally nasally voice, so that was pretty uncomfortable for me to do. But over time, and since stopped taking lessons, I find more and more I'm able to just let go and just like push it as hard as I can in that direction where I'm thinking about my vocal instructor telling me like, make it ugly, make it crispy, and just these different things that he would always be saying to me.
Yeah, there was one, I'm trying to remember the name of it, where you were like trying like a really high pitch that you were like, my voice is like crackling or gurgling. Where I'm trying to look for it.
Oh, it might be Against the Wall.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
Yeah, I recall that. That was not proper singing technique necessarily, but I was just pushing my voice as hard as I could push it,
yeah. I mean,
which is fun for its own thing,
yeah, and I think it sounds good.
Well, thank you.
And what other sort of vocal takeaways from your lessons?
Oh, you know what? This is one that when I go back and I listen to recordings, and even ones after I supposedly learned this, it just drives me crazy. But I have this tendency to hold on to notes for longer than I should. Like when I get to the end of a line, my natural tendency is just like, oh, we're at the end of the line, but the chord continues, so let me just keep singing it. And it's in one of the songs that you picked actually, where I do this and I just hold the note, and it's like there's no reason for me to hold it because all you do is you just hear my voice, flapping in the wind, wavering. And if I would have just stopped, and so I'll go and I'll listen, like, go and listen to like Let It Be by the Beatles. And like in my mind, they're always like holding out these notes and like just, really sing. But they get to the end of the line and the word stops. And it's like, wow, I never
Like in your
realized that.
mind, you thought that they were holding it out longer.
Yeah. And naturally that's what I want to do. And so like my vocal teacher had me like sing along with this song, and I'm trying to hold the note out, and it's like, wait, the note already stopped. And so that's something that I consciously try to do now. Like I get to the end of a phrase and just stop the word.
Interesting. And is that something that your vocal coach was like, this is what you do, or is that just something that you noticed over time?
That's something that he told me that I was doing, and he immediately was like, stop doing that.
He's like, bro, let go.
Exactly.
Now, for the rest of your production, I wanted to ask you about drums. Are you a drummer?
I am.
All right, because it sounds like you're a drummer, but every time I have someone on here that I'm like, it sounds like you're a drummer, they're like, oh, I use loops or I use, you know, some other like Logic drummer. Like, no shade on anyone doing those things,
Sure.
but real drummer here.
Real drummer. Yep. I There are a couple tracks where I used Logic Drummer, and plenty of them where I just don't drum at all. But the vast majority of tracks that I have where there are drums, they are me recording live drums.
Nice. And I think I see them in your studio behind you. Yeah. Uh, we don't have video on the show, but it's a pimp studio. Uh, that's a nice space for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I was listening to your songs and I was like, man, these drums sound really good. And then on the flip side, you've got lots of songs that are just guitar and vocals, but they sound so complete.
Hmm.
So it's interesting to think about a guy that is a drummer that is okay not putting drums in a song. Like, how do you hold back?
Time-based constraints.
I
No,
mean, I figured that was the answer, but it's
no,
like,
not every song calls for it. I prefer to think of myself as a songwriter first. I have been a drummer by necessity in a lot of
got it.
situations, and I enjoy playing drums. But in my opinion, the song comes first, the groove comes next, the vocals come third, and after that is everything else. Sometimes the groove calls for drums being there, sometimes it doesn't. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the times it's when you're doing weekly beats, sometimes the song's not good enough to warrant putting a whole bunch of time into it, recording every instrument.
All right.
And so it's like, okay, this one's fine. This one's okay, but I'm not going to do anything more with it because it just doesn't deserve it to me in my mind right now.
Got it.
And sometimes the song absolutely needs it. Like, this song will not be good enough without drums on there.
Got it. I mean, it's interesting to hear that maybe some of the ones that I picked without drums are ones that didn't make the cut, or weren't worthy enough for drums, because some of them sound, like I said, so complete and they stand on their own. And I think about putting vocals over just guitar, and that feels just like very vulnerable. And like you got to have your shit together for two tracks to stand on their own, you know?
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying, and it does make you feel vulnerable putting that out there. And there are so many times when my solution to that, to kind of overcome the anxiety about it, is to say, you know what, I'm gonna do one pass through this by recording. I'll record my acoustic guitar and my voice. I'll do it through voice memos. That way, it really doesn't matter, and everybody will know it doesn't matter. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I put it out there, and it's like, see, it doesn't have to sound good because it's just voice memos, right?
Right. I'm
And
just playing around here.
exactly. And for me, that was a kind of way to maybe get over that a little bit, and eventually, get into doing, okay, I'll record an acoustic guitar, maybe I'll double the guitar and then put the vocal in the center or something. But yeah, I don't know if I have anything to add on that. Edit this part out.
uh no, because when I was listening to these tracks without drums, I was like thinking about if I were to make the same thing. Like, man, I want to hide a little bit more back in the scenery with a bunch of other stuff going on. And I think if I were decent at playing drums, I would have a hard time not being like, here's the thing I can hide behind, you know?
Yeah. Um, I definitely feel that. I definitely try, like, it takes, I think it takes a certain amount of ignoring an impulse inside of me to be like, no, the vocal needs to be louder. Like, that's how things are mixed, with the vocal louder.
Yeah.
And so I push it beyond what I actually want it to be. And, try to get out of the shadows, I guess. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of kind of forcing yourself to do it, I think. And I have every confidence in you that you'll be able to do that.
I like that. I like that. I mean, I think there's a lot of ignoring impulses in making a song every week.
Yeah.
Like the tendency to, or like the impulse to be like, I need to add more polish on this before it's ready, or not rolling with the first take, or, what are some other impulses that you have to avoid while you're creating?
Excuse me. There is a thing where I'll be working on a song, and sometimes I'll recognize, oh, this is good. I think this is good, and I don't think I have enough time to do it, or at least not in a relaxed way where it's a comfortable process. And so sometimes I have to fight against that, and because my instinct is to be like, let me just, pull out voice memos again and record a piece of crap and put that up, and I can save this and I can have all week to do it next week.
Right.
And overcoming that and being like, no, I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it the best I can be with the time that I've got. And I don't know, maybe that's a dual-edged sword. Like, sometimes it makes you do something really good, and sometimes maybe it forces you to do something that I wish that would have been a little bit better. But it certainly is something that I'm fighting against.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. And it kind of makes me think of, if you had all the time and you didn't have that deadline, would it really change anything?
I have completed 0 songs this year.
That was going to be my next question. And I have been reflecting on this a lot recently, and it's like, what is it about the weekly schedule that actually pushes you to complete stuff?
I don't know why it is, but committing to it and then having that deadline there, I just I don't want to let myself down by not
Yeah.
completing it, by not doing it, by not doing something. And so it just forces me to do it. I mean, I play a bunch of guitar all the time. I pick up the guitar, but I just don't have the I don't know, the same drive to say, okay, I'm gonna work on a song. I'm gonna complete a song. And
Yeah.
so my voice memos pile up with, oh, here's a neat little idea that you know, that maybe next year I'll get
Yeah.
around. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, because it's like there's no one that's gonna berate you if you don't turn something in. There's there's, like, very little social pressure within the community. Like, if you miss a week, someone's not like, "Dude, what happened? You
Yeah.
completely screwed up your streak." But it's like this weird mental game that I've been trying to just dissect and ask other people about of, like, why is it so powerful that I can make 52 songs in 1 year, and then over the off year, I'm like, I better just throw away these other 3 ideas I've been working on because, like, I just can't get them to the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the evergreen topic among weekly beaters, right? Is like, I need this, and why do I need this? And I don't have any
Yeah,
better answers than anybody else,
yeah.
but I really need it in order to be productive musically.
Yeah, I mean, we can't all be like 1-0 and Cat Break that just,
Oh
like,
my
keep
goodness.
the train rolling.
Yeah, I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, because at the end of the year, I'm like, I do need a little bit of a break from this." And then I kind of taunt myself like, "Well, you could just, like, pretend that it's going on and do it, like, every other week or, like, join the once a month thing," but it's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, I've told myself the same things. Like, maybe
Alright,
I'll
I'm
do
not
it once a
alone.
month. Yeah, no, you're not alone.
Uh, what's in the cards for next year? Like, what do you wanna do?
I'm not sure if I'm going to do weekly beats yet. I,
Interesting.
I'm not positive.
What,
I,
what has you on the fence after
you
2
know,
successful runs at it?
yeah, I think the so I mentioned earlier that at some point you get 2/3 of the way through the year, 3/4 of the way through the year, whatever, and it just like, oh my gosh, it's like, will this ever end? And that
Yeah,
happened in 2022, and then I had a year off, and then 24 rolls around, and I'm ready to go again. But the grind set in sooner, lasted longer,
got
and
it.
thus far the excitement to get back in the saddle has not reappeared as quickly, I would say. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm not ruling it out. May, Maybe I'll do every other week.
Ooh, alright. Do you think that that could be solved with doing more just, like, voice memo kinda style things? Or, like, I guess it kinda gets to the point of what what do you actually enjoy about being pushed to make something every week?
Yeah. So it's interesting how you tied those together, because the thing that's enjoyable about it to me is making something that I'm really proud of. And so if it when it does devolve into mostly voice memos of things that I'm not crazy about,
Yeah,
then it's kind of like, well, what's the point? Why am I pretending that I'm really doing this thing if I'm phoning it in, so to speak?
right. Oh, man. I hit the drums back there.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
there we go. You're the drummer.
you
I had
needed the
to
drummer. Yeah,
yeah, I needed you to do
yeah.
that.
I'll take my cues.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that, like, from my perspective, that's kinda where I'm coming from with, like, the experimentation side of things. I think that I'm worried in a week's time span that I will get too experimental that I'll end up with something that I don't really like, that I'm like not necessarily phoning it in, but like I missed the mark personally for me to be like, yeah, I'm proud of that song. But I can definitely understand the like just creating something to create something for a deadline is not necessarily the fulfilling part.
Sure. And I don't know, to oppose my own argument, like sometimes surprises happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, oh, I've got to do something. And because you're forcing yourself to do something, you come out with something that, oh, wow, I really like that. You know,
Mhm.
there's a stupid song that I wrote. Well, I say it's stupid. I mean, I really like it now. And it's called Punk Rock Love Song. And it was one of those things that I probably wrote in 15 minutes or less. And just recorded it on voice memos, and I listened back to that and it's like, wow, the recording, it sounds terrible, but like I think it's a really catchy song and I'm glad that I was forced into it.
Yeah. Like I was just thinking about the when I got to those points last year of like, oh, this is a grind. I was like, this is supposed to be fun.
Mm,
And I'm supposed to kind of find those unexpected moments. So every time that I was like, I'm just going to go make something. I'm going to start out with like a loop and then I'm going to like maybe take away half of it and try a different bass line, or like every time I went back into just like playing and having fun instead of worrying about what I was actually going to make, those were the times that kind of brought me back to like, oh, this is the real reason that I'm doing this, and I'm putting too much pressure on myself for the end result when really the end result is just something to show people, and all of the hours during the week that I spent making this thing is really the point.
right. You know, there are times where I would find that I felt like I was on a hot streak, like just making stuff that I was really proud of. And I felt like personally I was maybe not always raising the bar, but I had like just a streak where I was keeping it consistent and writing really good stuff. And at some point it like that wore me out. And the idea like, oh my gosh, I've got to do it again. And so at some point it's like,
Oh,
okay, I'm
yeah.
going to just make something intentionally terrible so I can like reset my own personal expectations. Like,
Yeah, it's like imagine how actual popular bands feel when they release an album that's great and then they have to follow it up with
oh my
another album,
goodness.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be tough. It's got to be a
Oh,
lot
it's
of
gotta be.
pressure.
So there were moments where you're like, I gotta intentionally break the streak because I don't know that I can keep it up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, I mean, it just starts to feel in my mind like, oh gosh, like I know I just I can't do it anymore. I need a break,
Is
and that's
that
how I give myself that break.
is
Probably
that
in,
the because I noticed there's some intermission weeks.
yeah, yeah,
Which I think that's great. I mean, you're making something. Uh, hopefully, you're proud of an intermission week, but maybe you just need a break.
yeah. Mostly just need a break. I wouldn't say that I'm proud of any of the intermissions.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I I almost think we should normalize people just like taking a week off. Like, I think my first year, I was like, I got to do the streak, you know. But I think there's a certain value in like, I just need to put it down this week, and I'm gonna come back stronger next week.
Yeah, but then you don't have that little blue box.
It's true. It's true. You don't get to check off the. I know on one of yours the description was it feels good to like cross off the third row of
Yeah,
blocks, which is
it
nice.
does. I mean, making it through those milestones feels good. The only unsatisfying thing about that is that they're not even fractions. So you can't be like, all right, we're 1/8 exactly through the year.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're 750 seconds
Yeah.
or something.
Well, this is episode 30 for this show, which I feel like is
Yeah. Wow. That's a good milestone.
like, oh shit, all right. I'm more than halfway through the year. Like,
yeah, you're 15/26 of the way.
Yeah.
That's great.
Just easy math.
Yeah, right? You don't use those fractions on a regular basis?
No, I don't actually.
Oh, okay.
Well, we should start listening to some of this music. How about that?
Sounds fun. Kind of.
All right, we're going to start out with Fireflies from week 28 of 2022.
All right.
Here we go.
While we look outside and stare, I can smell your flowing hair. The last night on a getaway for two, I've got my hands all over you while we're taking in the view. We were looking at fireflies flickering on the mountainside. Hold your body next to mine in the summertime, electric in the fading light. You wrap your arms around me tight, making love in the summertime. In front of me, it's like diamonds in the trees. No brighter stars than these. A cool breeze as the twilight fades away, the best end to another day, and our bodies start to sway. We were looking at fireflies flickering on the mountainside. Hold your body next to mine in the summertime, electric in the fading light. You wrap your arms around me tight, making love in the summertime. Body next to mine in the summertime, electric in the fading light. You wrap your arms around me tight, making love in the summertime. We were looking at fireflies flickering on the mountainside.
All right, that was Fireflies. I am just really impressed by your songwriting.
Well, thank you very much. That's one of the early ones that I was proud of a lot of things on the way in 2022, but that's one of the ones where I felt like I had set a new bar for myself, where I did some things songwriting wise that I was proud of and melodically that I really enjoyed. And just, there's a lot of hook in that song, which I really, really like.
And how did you arrive at those, like, either new techniques or things that you ended up being proud of?
That, I think it was really just kind of grinding the way I usually grind with songs, but that one had maybe a little bit of extra time to marinate. So I was on vacation. So I was in between jobs, and between jobs, I said, you know what, I'm going to take 6 weeks off before I start my new job, so I could go and do some travel with my family and stuff. And excuse me, the hook to that song, or the chorus, I guess, the we're looking at fireflies flickering on the mountainside, that kind of just like appeared to me. I was nowhere near any music, but it was like, I'm writing that down on my phone immediately, and I hope I remember it tomorrow. And I like, it just popped into my head with the melody of it. And I was still traveling with my family for probably another week or week and a half, but I just kept going back to this idea in my head. And I remember we were driving home. We were coming from east to west across the U.S., and so we were going through Texas and New Mexico and back to Arizona. And I'm like sitting. My wife was driving, and I'm sitting on my phone, and I'm like, I've got the lyrics, and I'm like just writing the song there lyrically and playing the melodies in my head, just kind of figuring out the song. So I guess it had a bit of time to bake in that way. And then when I got home, I had just been doing, crap on Weekly Beats for a few weeks, in my opinion, because it was just like old voice notes that I was like, oh, well, I need something, and I don't have my studio to record with. So I got home, and it's like, I need to do a good song. I need to do something that I'm really proud of. And so I remember I spent all day Saturday trying to make that song work. And I had all the bones of the song, but I could not get the rhythm right. There was something that just wasn't working. And I spent a whole day trying to make this song work, and it didn't work. And then I woke up the next day like, oh, am I still going to do this song? And I woke up, the shower is my place for writing songs and putting it together. But the rhythm, the beat that carries through that song just came into my head, and I started singing it in my head, and just, oh, okay, I think I've got it now, and went into the studio and just put it all down.
And the important part here from your notes is that you threw away all of your other work.
Yeah, I threw away Saturday. Saturday was trying to do the rhythm of the guitars and get drums to go with it that would all go along with the vocal, but the groove wasn't right.
That's so hard to do, to throw away something, like, especially Sunday morning.
Yeah.
On a Weekly Beats submit day, to just throw it all away. But I think a lot of times that just opens the door to new creativity. You just get like stuck in a box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you've got something in there that you don't realize that it's holding back the rest of the song, and then you can take that away, and oh, okay, well, now the rest of the song can grow. And for this one, it was just something about the way, and I don't even remember what I was doing, but the rhythm wasn't right, and it just was not. It wasn't singing.
Got it. And then the shower brought it to life.
The shower brings it to life, man. I get in the shower in the morning, and ideas just like, my brain wakes up and ideas just start popping in there. So I don't know what it is, but for me, that's the place to write.
Well, and it's cool too when you've been working on a song and then just like finally have this epiphany of like, oh, like this is going to make it even better.
Yeah.
Like literally clear off the table and like start over from scratch.
I was so excited to do it, though. It's like, I've cracked the code, and it was probably like 7 in the morning, 6:30 or 7 in the morning. It's like, okay, let's get to work. Like, we're going to do this. And it's not my best sounding recording production wise, but yeah, I'm proud of the songwriting. I think the bridge has a really cool thing where it does a little modulation that I like. And the solo has like a little flick at the end where it just goes up high. And a friend of mine commented on that. It was probably it was just a comment about how cool it was that it did that. And that compliment always stuck with me. I really appreciated that. And yeah, I dig that
Yeah, I
one.
mean it's the whole package, I think.
Thank you.
And I didn't listen to any of your 22 songs until you sent this one to me, and I was like, "Oh, this is a fucking banger."
Well, thank you.
So, yeah. All right, we're gonna keep it rolling. Let's see what's up next. Week 35 from 2022. Honestly, here we go.
"7:30 on a Monday. Can't get myself up out of bed. If I call in sick, they'll know that I am lying. If I lose my job, I might as well be dead. Mornings always come too early. Evenings always stay too late. When I burn the candle at both ends, I can't find middle ground. I find the emptiness instead. Oh, honestly, I'd do anything to find some peace and tranquility. I'd leave it all, move to the mountains of Nepal. If I could close my eyes and get some rest. I see the shadows on the ceiling. I feel the stillness in the air. When I close my eyes, I see the waking nightmare in my mind. The rest won't come to meet me till I'm dead. Oh, honestly, I'd do anything to find some peace and tranquility. I'd leave it all, move to the mountains of Nepal. If I could close my eyes and get some rest. Oh, honestly, I'd do anything to find some peace and tranquility. I'd leave it all, move to the mountains of Nepal. If I could close my eyes and get some rest.
All right, that was honestly one of those ones that I mentioned, you and a guitar, and man, that's all you need.
Yeah, that's one of my most proud songs for sure. It's a song I think because it's so exposed and it's just kind of sings on its own that made me so proud of it. And it's a song that I picked because even 3 years later now, I still pick up the guitar and play that song. I still love that song. I really like songs that do something different with the chords. I grew up playing punk rock and just, I could play 3 chords and just like that. That's what I was doing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surrounded by people at various points in my life. I've always played with people who are better musicians than me and that know a whole bunch of music theory and can kind of think through and do things with music that I just don't know how to do or don't know how to, like, I don't have the technical background to do. And during Weekly Beats, just through experimentation, not through study or anything, but through experimentation, I started to, I can take a major and put it down to a minor. And that became a thing that I did all the time, where you take the 4 chord and it's major, and then you go minor, and then you go back to the 1. And this was a song where, like, I was taking that trick that I had done a few weeks prior and kind of put it in this new context and add a 7 chord in there. And it's like, yeah, this is me, like, making songs that have more than 3 chords. And
look at me.
Look at me. Yeah. So I'm proud of that one.
And I think the vocal melodies are great. And I mean, like, the lyrics are great as well. So, I mean, like I've already said, I'm just really impressed with your songwriting, and I aspire to be on the Blighters rock level without the writer's block.
That's kind of you to say. I try to make it happen, and sometimes it comes out, and I'm sure that you can make it happen as well.
I like your confidence in me, for sure. And any other just like song creation moments making this, other than your minor 4th trick?
No, this one was one. Well, this was one that I had, like, I'm using, I think this is probably the first song I wrote that had a 7 chord in it. And so I'm like, as I'm writing it, I'm trying to, do I replace this chord with the 7? Like, and I'm just moving around the progression. And I must have tried every possible permutation of the kind of 4 main chords in the chorus. And I don't know, somehow it all came together. It was probably a pretty quick one, not one that was sitting around or anything. Yeah, I don't know.
But another example of you and guitar, but it's something that you're proud of. It's not just like a voice memo thing.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. All right. The next one is Hollywood Sign. This is week 6 from 2024. Here we go.
Dreaming of the West Coast vibe since before the year I turned 5. Thinking, wouldn't it be nice if I was old enough to leave? I wish that I was having fun, picking up some good vibrations. But instead I'm in my room, and when I sleep, I see California in my dreams at night. The Hollywood sign looking down on us. I've got stars in my eyes tonight. Hear me revving up my 409, chasing honeys in the summertime. I'm looking for a surfer girl to go with me. God only knows that if we take our time, we'll get there faster, and I'll make you mine. Don't worry, baby, you're fine with me. I see California in my dreams at night. A sun-kissed honey smiling back at
right, that was Hollywood Sign. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, I had the foundation of this chorus knocking around for, I don't know if it was a few weeks or a few months, but it was one of those things where I didn't know what it was going to be about. And I was like, oh God, nobody wants another song about California. So it was just knocking around for a while. And I think I watched, there was a Beach Boys tribute show that had a bunch of bands that I really like. The one I really remember is it had Weezer in there. And it was just a whole bunch of folks playing covers of Beach Boys tunes. And it was just fantastic. And then I probably within a couple days after that, I played that and just thought, oh, California, Beach Boys, and started figuring out how many Beach Boys references I could toss into the lyrics.
There's a few.
Yeah, there are a few. And I grew up listening to the Beach Boys. The first tape I ever had was probably a Beach Boys like car songs or something like that.
Yeah.
So big fan. But this is one where there are a couple things that stand out to me that I'm proud of. One of them is just getting the confidence in my singing to be able to drop out all the guitars and just go down to drums and vocals.
Yeah.
That took some doing for me to get to the point where that was like, something that kind of goes on throughout the song.
Yeah, you leave lots of space. Like there's that like palm muting while the verses are going that really just like makes room for your voice.
Right. And then just cuts down to, just the kick drum at some points as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that kind of stood out to me thinking back to it. And also, this is probably the first time I learned to use major 7 chords. And I love chords. I don't know all the chords, but there's a couple moments in there where it just kind of slightly alters. It swaps out a major 7 chord and gives it a real dreamy sound. And it's just kind of another trick to add to the tool bin or tool chest or whatever you keep your tools in.
One of those things with tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone else loved this one. Q Rosh said, wow, this is a radio hit. Perfect production. Of course, Viridian Loom. Damn, dude, this is a banger. So, yeah, everyone else recognized, again, your songwriting prowess on this one.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, so it's not just me.
The other thing about this one that stands out to me about the making of is that the lead guitar intro, I think I didn't have anything there except just power chords until about an hour before submission. And I was like, this song's really good, but it needs something else. And so at the last minute, I'm like, okay, let's come up with something. And it's turned into, for me, when I listen back to it, it's a very iconic part of the song that just kind of, it bookends the song. It's got it at the intro, but then it brings it back later. And it just has the vibe, that like the Beach Boys vibe. People hear it and we're like, what is this, a Beach Boy song? And then they hear the lyrics and they're, oh,
like,
okay.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
But it's, I think it is like a hat tip to the Beach Boys, definitely with the lyrics, but it's not, it still feels like you made it your own.
Well, thank you.
It's not, there's just like a certain thing about Beach Boys songs that this goes almost there, but like it stops and is still your own kind of take on it.
Yeah. Hopefully
and I
so.
like it.
Thank you.
I like it. So, all right, we're going to move on to my picks now. Let's see. My first one is going to be Nickels and Dimes from week 20, 2024. Here we go.
I've been saving up my nickels and dimes, and I'll be waiting here for such a long time, until I finally have a ticket to see my strawberry bombshell. saves her loving for me too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been saving up my nickels and dimes. I've been waiting here for such a long time, until I finally have a ticket to see my strawberry bombshell. Nickels and dimes. I've been waiting here for such a long, long time, until I finally have a ticket to see my strawberry bombshell. Oh, I need a ticket to see my strawberry bombshell.
That was Nickels and Dimes. And while we were just listening to this with our mics off, Blighters Rock pointed out that this is one of his songs where he does a really long tail on all of his lyrics, or at the end of every phrase. And I honestly didn't notice it before, but now that you mention it, yeah, there's some long ones in there.
There are some long ones in there. When I listen back to this, that's what I hear, and it's like, oh, gosh. Like
So
a do-over on that one.
I picked kind of a nails on the chalkboard song to you.
You know, I love this song. It's got lots of chords. I love lots of chords. I think that's a recurring theme with me. And I say I love lots of chords. I like trying to use chords that, like, you know, in interesting ways that allow interesting melodies without necessarily sounding like you're trying to do something crazy weird.
Right.
Like, I want it to be something that can hook you, something poppy that just has that little twist in it, that little hook that gives you something familiar but new. And I think that some of the chord changes in this one do, and the way the melodies play on top of it do. And this is not one that I would have put in my top 3, I don't think, but it certainly is in my top 10 list.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had a hard time choosing between all of your songs in your catalog. And I didn't realize until like just before we started recording that I picked several that are just guitar and vocals. And I originally, I think, picked one of them, I think this one, to kind of highlight that, like, your ability to sort of like stand on your own. And then now that I'm like, like 2 out of my 3 have no drums in them.
Ah, that's fine.
But I still think it's just quite the ability to, you know, stand on your own with these, you know, just guitar and vocals. And again, just great lyric writing. And I think the chords that you used do offer you the ability to make a really interesting, nice melody that sticks in your head.
Yeah, thank you. For this one, they say that every guitar has a song in it. And I bought this. It was a bucket list guitar for me. It was a Rickenbacker 12-string guitar that was.
Yeah.
It was very similar to the one that Tom Petty holds on the cover of Damn the Torpedoes, if you're familiar with that. Just an iconic guitar. And I had always wanted one, and I got one. And that song, it like Strawberry Bombshell, was me. Like, it's a Fireglow guitar, and I'm like, you know, singing about a guitar. It's kind of stupid.
I love it. It's not stupid at all.
But that guitar turned out to just be such a disappointment. And so that song, I started writing that in 2022 when I got that guitar, but it was just so terrible to play that I got a different 12 string. I got rid of that one and got one, a Dan Electro one, like the cheapest guitar, cheapest 12 string you can get. And it kicks the shit out of the Rickenbacker.
Wow, okay.
And I recorded it on the Dan Electro and I love it. So
That's great.
So it took two guitars for that one song, but
like for it to come to fruition finally.
Yeah.
Just looking through some of the comments here. Kedbreak said, I like the lyrics a lot. You captured the passion of youth, the candid emotions and enthusiasm. Little did he know it was about a guitar.
Yeah, well, at least it started that way.
Yeah.
You know, then it just turns into whatever it is.
No, kind of like what you were talking about with you get some of the lyrics and then start to like piece other parts of it together that sort of go together.
Yeah, exactly.
One day I'll figure that out when I start writing lyrics. All right. My second pick is Burn You Down. All right, here we go.
Seventh circle of the sweltering heat of the hell you put me through. Desperation cannot find a retreat from the well I fell into. Once forgiven, twice betrayed. I'd rather burn you down than watch you fade away. Constant pressure living under your thumb as I tried to break free. Crack and splinter while I'm tingling numb as you got the best of me. Once remembered, twice erased. I'd rather burn you down than watch you fade away. All the memories in flames. 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 And I'd rather burn you down than watch you fade away.
All right, that was Burn You Down. And I went back and looked at my comment on this when I first listened to it. And it holds true today that I really like the guitar sound on this. And I think the vocals, again, go well with just the guitar. And you kind of do the palm muting thing again to let the vocals shine through.
Yeah. Thank you. I honestly don't remember a whole lot about the production of this one, but I think I'm not so sure that in 2022 I ever did just electric guitar and vocals. I know I did acoustic guitar and vocals a bunch of times, but at some point I decided, let's pull out the electric guitar and do that with vocals. And I think it's got, still has a bit of the punk rock sound without all the effort of busting out the drums.
And while our mics are muted, you said that you were surprised that I picked this one.
Yeah, I don't know why this one is not one that sticks out in my mind. Maybe it's because it never became a song where I did it with the full band, and I don't know if that was a time constraint thing or what the reason was behind that. But I had to go back and listen to it when you picked it. I was like, oh yeah, that one.
Interesting choice.
No, I mean, I don't begrudge anyone their taste. I don't hate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling it out and bringing it back to me to, to kind of give it a second listen. Because sometimes you create things. I mean, I certainly have, where I don't really appreciate it. And then somebody says,
Right.
oh, I really like this thing that you did here, or I like this part about it. And then sometimes you give yourself maybe the credit that you're due, or maybe, it at least can improve your estimation of that thing when
For
somebody
sure.
else approves of it, because there are any number of reasons why we can dismiss our own work, and then not see the value until somebody else points it out.
Yeah, one man's speed trash is another man's banger. So, because I was definitely on the fence, because I really like To Forget About, the song To Forget About. I
Yeah.
do forget about lots of things, and some of the other ones that I had commented throughout the year, I'm Not Fooling Anyone, which was like a week 2 one, so like everyone that's on here, you should go listen to the entire catalog and choose your own favorites.
Well, thank you. I'm Not Fooling Anyone is actually one that I have played with. I played with a band for a while last year. I was drumming for the band, but I had written, like, a bunch of the songs we played were ones I wrote, and that was one that got played out live a bit. So that was a lot of fun.
Cool. All right. We will play out my final song after we wrap up this episode at the very end, like we normally do. And it's called Wasting the Time of My Life. But I wanted to chat about it a bit before we let people listen to it. And when I first listened to this, I was like, God, this chord progression sounds very familiar. And I finally figured it out, but it definitely takes a different turn. And it sounds a lot like the chords to While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about how difficult it is to write a song with such similar chords and not get stuck in the While My Guitar Gently Weeps, like groove, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about like how this came together. And
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because the first time I played this for somebody else, like, I went over to a friend's house and, hey, I wrote a song that I think is pretty cool, and just played it on the guitar and sang it. And he's like, oh, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. And I was like, God.
No, but I admire the commitment to push through the similarities, because like there's only so many chords, and the beginning of it is such a great chord progression. So I admire that.
So there's something that I say to people talking about writing songs, and it's along those same lines. Like, there are only so many chords and so many chord progressions, and I think the first place that I got caught, not like where I got into a writer's block, is, well, I've already written songs to like all the variations of kind of these chord progressions that I know, and I can't do that anymore. I can't write that song again.
Right.
And at some point, I think Weekly Beats helped me get over that idea. And it's like, well, no, I can use those same exact chords if I want to, and write something different on top of it if I want to. And not like, just chose not to be beholden to that idea that because I already used a 1-5-6-4 chord progression, that I can't use that anymore, whatever the case may be. So yeah, I used that chord progression for kind of the main riff of it. And I gave a little hat tip to George Harrison in there with a reference to Cloud 9. I don't know if anybody caught that one.
I didn't catch that.
That one was another one that came together really quickly, though. I remember I was out seeing some friends, their band, play on Saturday night, and one of them, Elle Rin is her screen name on Weekly Beats. She was, we were just talking about Weekly Beats, and, oh, what are you going to do this week? And I was like, I don't know, I'll figure something out tomorrow. And just came into the studio, and another one that just kind of flew together I think I had Wasting the Time of My Life. I think that's one that I did have a song title. I like the idea of kind of flipping the having the time of my life on its head.
For sure.
And just took it and wrote a song about wasting my time.
Yeah, and again, the lyrics are great. Like
Thank
it
you.
starts out with I simulate sleep while I'm laying in my bed, sealing my eyes as I try to pretend. And I'm like, oh my God, we've all been there, you know?
Yeah.
uh, and yeah, just I really like the melodies on this. And this is, interestingly enough, the week after the song that I just played. I didn't realize when I was like sorting them that I picked like back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, I noticed that when you sent me your pics.
But it's
funny.
also interesting, I think, to look at the from one week to another of like the song that we just heard and this one. And while they are both guitar and vocals, they're drastically different in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. You go.
I was just gonna say I've been kind of theming on this whole thing about chords and how I like to use tons of chords, and one of the things that I always joke around with other people I play music with is the idea of an every chord song. It's when you like, or when I write a song that has like it's got C through B. It's got something of each one of those notes in there. It might be some weird diminished chord or something, but some form of each note name. Like that's an every chord song right there. And I've yet to write an every chord song that I didn't appreciate in some way.
Got it.
And
So you dig the variety.
Is one. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, of course, everyone will get a chance to hear it in a minute here, but we are near the end of our time together. So I wanted to thank you again for coming on, and of course, thank everyone who continues to listen to my voice every week that I'm still getting used to when I edit.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. I think this is really cool. And I just found out about the podcast recently, but I'm going to have to go back and catch some back episodes. I know I saw a few names on in the history that I'm particularly excited about. So
cool.
Looking forward to listening to it in the past ones and future ones. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, and it has been a fun way to kind of keep the Weekly Beats stuff going in an off year and kind of start anticipating next year a little bit more. So hopefully we will hear you next year and you can, reflect on the past 2 years that you did and maybe understand a little bit more about where you can find those like unexpected moments and stay out of the like I'm grinding mentality, because we would all benefit by having more of your music in the world and stuff that you're proud of.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get to hear more of your stuff, and we're going to play it on out with Wasting the Time of My Life. And unless there's anything else you want to say before we go?
No. Thank you so much. I appreciate appreciate you. Appreciate everybody that does Weekly Beats, and that it's a great community, and it's really been a special part of my life.
Great. And we had to mention the community because I don't know if you know, there's the bingo card that people have been throwing around on the Discord of like, there's so many common things that come up on all of the episodes that there's now like a bingo card, and one of them is like the community.
Oh, well, there I go.
But we didn't talk about the M8 too much, so.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit outside of my area of knowledge and expertise.
Well, we hit it hard on the last one, so people need a little break. So, all right, we're gonna play it on out, and thanks again, everyone. See you next week.
I simulate sleep while I'm lying in bed. Sealing my eyes as I try to pretend. If thinking were dreaming, I'd be on cloud nine. But I'm wide awake and I'm wasting the time of my life. Make a big plan for a day that won't come. Dream of the things that I'll never have done. If I look too closely, I'll see what I'm not. So I'll drift away to a happier thought while I'm wasting the time of my life. Nothing worth doing will ever get done, 'cause doing takes trying, trying's not fun. Listless but bitter and falling behind. So I'll make up a list of the things I must do. Find a new notebook and fill that up too. I could move mountains if I had the time. There's nothing stopping